So as you can see behind me, I've got a lovely piece of Fabriano stretched up on the board, and I'm thinking of making a portrait today. Shock. Feeling of making a more refined drawing today. I've been doing loads of uni work, so I'm really keen to have a bit of fun in the studio. I'm thinking that I might go for a female subject today, which is quite unusual for me, but I think it could be interesting and a nice challenge, particularly as I'm thinking of going for some more refined marks and maybe slightly less gestural than usual. Again, not too many expectations. Like right now I don't really have a very vivid image of what I'm looking for in an end product here, but I just want to have basically go at doing a really large study and see if I can make something which I'm happy with. I want to stay relatively open with my use of medium, so if I can kind of sense an idea of doing a background maybe in some kind of colour, if that feels right. Being quite playful but also patient and try and make something which I think looks refined and finished, and yeah, I'm going to give it my best shot. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I was really excited to start this drawing and I didn't really know what to expect. But I started off with a nice, loose, relaxed charcoal powder spread across the background. I like doing this because it gives me a bit of a defining of space, introduces a little bit of chaos just to make it a little less scary to make the initial marks of the face. The marks that I initially lay down to kind of find the form of the subject will be subject to change, and I'm happy to do that. The charcoal that I'll be using is quite soft, so as to be easily shiftable and kind of more malleable on the page. But yeah, I feel like I was kind of reasonably comfortable with how they were looking, but you'll see throughout this drawing that they do shift even at fairly late stages, which I think is the beauty of the charcoal. I think if I was doing this in graphite, I would have a much harder time making such late stage alterations, but I think it suits my kind of not especially meticulous approach to drawing. Yeah, I find it gives me a lot more freedom and space to breathe, and I don't have to be really worried that I've positioned something incorrectly even at a later stage. It's really nice having that freedom. I did feel that this kind of timing in the drawing, that I do move between really broad general adjustments, and I do like introducing quite refined shadows and that sort of thing. Again, I don't think that's a very proper way of approaching a drawing, but for me it's really nice to kind of see peaks of refinement, and it just helps me work on that and build on top of that area, and it drives the way that I think the drawing, like kind of the outcome of the drawing, based on what areas I think are working, kind of pushing and pulling different spots that I think are succeeding, and it also for me makes it a lot clearer where adjustments in proportions need to be made, or that sort of thing. Okay, so this is day 2 of the drawing, and I think it's going quite nicely. Like I said, I didn't have too many expectations for this drawing, but yeah, I think it's got some potential. It's going nicely. I don't think I'm going to go through with the colour stuff that I was kind of considering at the beginning. I've got a feeling that this drawing is going to work, in black and white, and I don't really want to risk adding colour at this stage when I've got so many layers of charcoal on it. I don't want to muddy up the colours and that sort of thing. I do think the one thing that I'm really going to be looking for from now on is really deepening the background to let the foreground kind of pop in a bit more, and then just sort of starting to refine now that I feel like we've got some really nice base layers of tone and form. I'm quite happy with where that kind of thing's approaching, so I want to start refining now and being more definitive and specific with the marks that I've now laid down. So yeah, let's see where it goes. So So as I'm moving further into the development of this drawing, I always like to, make note of when I think I've really been forgetting about one of the tonal values that the drawing really needs is a bit more punch. So for me, it was quite obvious that this was feeling like a flat drawing and it needed some much heavier, darker, more confident shadows. So you can see me now introducing those kind of marks both into the chin and the neck area and also the background. Interestingly, I was using very, very hard compressed charcoal for this background, and it worked great. I think it gave a really, really incredible, deep, heavy background, but it was very, very hard to apply. I had to apply so much pressure, particularly to achieve a smooth surface, or kind of dissolve the texture of the marks, because I wanted it to be more of an abyss than overt kind of marks and scratches. So it was very difficult, and I'm sure there was better ways of doing it, but for me it was worth the pain that it caused my fingers to achieve such a heavy and dense background. Again, I kind of felt like there was a real disjointment between the way the hair appeared. Just felt like it was sat on top, almost like a wig. It didn't feel very natural at all. So you'll see me moving into and finding kind of organic ways to transition that naturally into the background. I also want to give a shout out to Stephen Bauman, who provided the reference image for this drawing, which you can see now. His subject, Olivia, is my chosen subject for this drawing, and I got it from his Patreon course where he provides models for his drawing students, so that was really, really cool. And it helped me to kind of separate any emotional attachment from people that I might know that I'm drawing, and it helped me in some ways objectify the subject, not in obviously a negative way, but be more observational and objective in my marks rather than draw what I think this person looks like, which is a big problem when you're drawing people. But in any case, I was really pleased with how this drawing turned out in the end. I think the composition was probably one of my best that I've ever made so far, and I was really pleased with it. And I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Thanks.